So let's chat about the dilemma of trying to help somebody going through this. One of the things that's really frustrating is when we know somebody who's going through emotional, narcissistic abuse, and they can't seem to see it. And they might even recognize it, they might even know, they might even be able to recognize that something's wrong, but they just don't want to believe it. That's really tough because we want them to break free. We know the pain that they're going through. We understand how difficult this is, and we don't want them to go through it. The hard reality of this is that nobody can make the decision, or nobody can have somebody have that awareness moment. They have to do it themselves, which means that our role is to fundamentally just be there for them, be a sounding block, and try to catch them if and when, or let me back up, when they ultimately decide that they've had enough and they start to really see through and believe what's happening to them. But until that happens, until they make that decision themselves, you have to be really careful on how much you push. Because oftentimes people, they don't really want to hear it. They don't want to believe it. They want to believe the reality that they're in. They want to believe that it's just a mood, it's just a moment, this isn't real. They really do, the other person really does care about them, whether it's a spouse, a parent, a best friend, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. They don't want to believe it. And it makes it really tough because you want to be able to tell them, you want to be able to say, just look at what's going on. Look at these things that they're treating you bad. Look at this, look at this, look at this. You want to itemize everything and point it out to them. You want to share the terms with them. You want to say your ex is a narcissistic personality type. They're toxic to you. Can't you see what is happening? But you can't say that to somebody. Just like somebody couldn't say it to you when you were going through it, because you would get defensive. You would back off. You have to let people come to the realization themselves. Think about it. This is the reason why it's so tough, even when people arrive at channels like this, even when people finally have enough to do a search, to find some information. You know, most of the time, a lot of times people, they clickety click, clackety clack, and they find it on their own, and the information is presented right in front of them, and it still takes them time. I'm sure you're either going through this right now, or if you're farther along, you've seen people say those things. You'll see new people on it and they don't understand. They don't want to believe it. They break no contact. They are constantly ruminating about the ex. They're questioning whether what they think is real is real. They're questioning themselves. They don't even believe themselves. They think that maybe they were the problem. Now, every one of us plays a part in our situation. I'm not saying that there's no culpability all the way around, but not to the level that people go through on that. So when you're trying to help somebody, you see it clearly. You see what's going on. You see the patterns of behavior. And your friend, your child, your brother, your sister, hell, it could even be your parent. If they can't see it, you can't see it for them. You can try, you can nudge in the right direction, you could give them information, you can encourage them, but you have to be really careful, because if you do too much, they can get, like I was saying a minute ago, they can get really defensive and they could basically recoil against you. They treat you like the enemy, even though you're trying to help them, and fall back into the arms of their toxic abuser. It's a pattern that repeats over and over and over again. It's a pattern that we probably even did over and over again. I know I did. I can look back and I know I had conversations with people where I completely articulated what was going on, my concerns, what I thought I was dealing with, but I wasn't ready to believe it. I still thought there was hope. I still thought that it wasn't as bad as I thought. And there was nothing that anyone could say until I was ready to see that I had had enough. Even then, Even then, whenever I had that epiphany that I just can't do this anymore, that this has to stop, I deserve an opportunity for a better life, I still had no clue what I was dealing with. I had no clue of the emotional abuse and the attacks that were yet to come. I thought everything I had experienced up to that point was the worst that it possibly could be. Even with that, when I finally started learning about it, like I was talking about in the beginning of this video, I went through those same things where I'm like, well, is it really this? Are they really that? Am I just exaggerating it? Am I over embellishing it? Am I taking it out of context just to make myself feel better? I'm sure every one of you probably has gone through the same thing. It's a very common pattern for people to go through. So when you're trying to help somebody, they're going through the exact same thing. It's so clear to you. It could be so clear to you, but you have to remember that it still took you a long time to get to the point, to get to where you are now, to be able to see this stuff more clearly. You probably also can recognize that you can see it clearly in other people, but you have a hard time following your own advice. I mention that because when you're trying to help somebody, they may not progress at the level that you would hope that they would, that you want them to, that you want them to break free from this. You want them to get away from it. You want them to get their life back, to put that toxic person into the rearview mirror, push them away as far as they possibly can, and regain the person that they really are. But you can't do it for them. You can walk beside them. You can be there for them. You can listen. It's hard sometimes whenever you're watching just this pattern go over and over again. You can be there for them when they finally start to come out of their shell and they need somebody to talk to. You can do that. But again, you can't do it for them. So don't beat yourself up. This is incredibly important whenever you're talking about a family member, your own child, a brother or sister, a cousin, somebody you care deeply about. It could even be a really good friend, somebody you care deeply about, and you want to pull them. You want to grab them and pull them through this nightmare and get them to the other side. Unfortunately, they have to pull themselves. You can stand there at the door. You can hold the door open for them. They have to walk through it. Okay, on that, I'm going to wrap this video up. If you have some things you want to add that maybe have techniques that you've used to help people, put that in the comments below. If this channel is helpful for you, please consider subscribing. If you like this video and you think it was helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it. And I will chat with you on the next video. Take care.